So check this out. Collider News on YouTube, that's what I'm about. Collision course from New York, who lies LA. Catch me flying ID rhyme in Independence Day. First I plant some diamonds and then I watch the gold bloom. Will Smith save the world? Spoke too soon. Research coming up like a bad flu. I call that shit like motherfucking Pikachu. Carnage Park in the dark like a Blair Witch. I'm your nightmare fuel on a genre kick. Bow down, celebrate me like Star Wars. I'm so bad I make Vader look like Star-Lord. Yes, I said it and yes, I meant it. Harry's never off.
Movies have been a popular form of entertainment for decades, and they have an innate ability to make us forget about everything that's going on in the world around us and transport us into a world of magic and wonder that's only limited by our imaginations. And while some people are content with just watching movies, others make a career out of talking about movies, obsessing over movies, and no group does it better than Collider Movie Talk. So strap in, sit back, and let's catch this shit like a motherfucking Pikachu, because today I'm going to tell the story of Collider Movie Talk. Let's hit it! Our story begins with a man named John. No, different John. No, that's not the John I'm talking about. Keep going. Oh, come on! That's not the John I'm talking about. I'm talking about a man named John Campia. Thank you. Anyways, this Italian-Canadian hybrid who hails from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan has been a lover of films all his life. In fact, his earliest childhood memory was his mom taking him to see the very first Star Wars movie when he was just 5 years old. And he's been hooked on films ever since. Basically, this guy loves movies more than we all love Lucy. Fast forward a gazillion years later, and he was at a crossroads in his career. He dabbled a bit in the visual effects industry before finally deciding to become a lawyer, but his friends knew that his true passion was talking about movies. And so, during a lunch break, they told him he needed to quit his job so he could pursue a career in the film industry full-time. And while he was initially reluctant to do so, he realized that this was the best chance he had to actually do something he was passionate about for a living. And so, he gave his 2 weeks notice to his law firm, bought an apartment, and bought a domain name. And what was the domain name? Drumroll please. Yes, that's right, themovieblog.com. He founded themovieblog.com in 2003, and as you guessed, it was a blog for talking about movies, anything and everything regarding movies. In fact, his first AdSense check was for a grand $200, which was a lot back in the day, and hell, it's still a lot now. And while sure, $200 is not much, I mean, hell, who doesn't like $200? I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I'm sorry, I'm getting off track. Anyways, he ran the site for a grand total of 6 years, until a new opportunity arose. In 2009, US movie theater chain AMC Theaters were looking to expand their brand online. They were well aware of John's work on the movie blog and decided he would be the perfect candidate to head up this new digital operation. And so he moved from the snowy, cold popsicle known as Canada to the sunny, bright skies of Los Angeles, California. Not long after that, he started a show called For Your Consideration, in which he and a few other guests would talk about movies.
Love that they're
Help me wrap my head around this Rocket the Raccoon
Check
character.
it out. Like, all right, I was actually thinking about this on the way here because I was like, I never really like pondered Rocket Raccoon. When I was a kid, I bought those Mike Mignola, the 4-issue Rocket Raccoons, which are awesome. Like the inking on some of them, like he didn't ink them back then himself. He had other inkers. So I remember like, oh, that cover's amazing. Then, strange, scritchy, scratch inking. I just remember like being really tough on inkers when I was a kid.
For Your Consideration started airing as a series on July 31st, 2012, and not long after that, the show went daily, and thus the name changed to AMC Movie Talk. And over the course of the next 3 years, AMC Movie Talk would be proof of one thing: the smaller you are, the bigger you rise. Movie Talk first started filming out of a spare storage closet at the AMC Burbank 16, but it soon grew too small for their ambitions, and so they moved to a much larger studio, the Stream.TV Studios in Hollywood. And it started out with an initial cast of John Campia, Dennis Zen, Amy Rose Eisenbach, Chrisley Kennedy, and Aaron Darlin. What made Movie Talk different was the fact that they were actual movie fans talking about movie-related stuff, so the audience could trust them as they were film fans themselves. And considering all of them were film industry professionals, or at least had some knowledge of films, you could trust their judgment as they generally knew what they were talking about. Also, the chemistry between the cast was great, and people grew attached to some of the personalities that appeared on Movie Talk. And it was also interactive, as they would take fan input into their decisions, and they would very often answer fan-submitted questions. And even though they were part of a corporate entity that was part of a much larger corporate entity, they didn't feel like corporate PR mouthpieces, as they were free to express any kind of opinion they wanted to, as AMC did not meddle in the production of the show in any way. In fact, John only agreed to do the show if he could do it his way. I mean, where else could you get away with doing something like this?
Crazy and like take personal offense, and how dare you say something bad about a movie I love.
Aaron Darlin and Chrisley Kennedy were both let go from AMC Movie Talk over reasons that are more unknown than Area 51. Similarly, Clark Wolf was fired from AMC Movie Talk, and while some people speculated it was due to her giving a negative review to Man of Steel, it was actually due to scheduling conflicts. But all of the controversy and upheaval did little to slow the show's momentum. Within the span of 3 years, AMC's YouTube channel rose from 4,000 subscribers to 55,000 subscribers to 134,000 subscribers to 285,000 subscribers. That is a dramatically huge increase within the span of 3 years. The more and more successful Movie Talk became, the more and more AMC invested into the show. And by late 2014, it had become incredibly obvious that the Stream.TV studios would not be the ideal home to further their expansion. And so they moved out into a larger studio complex of their own in Burbank, California, which just so happened to be across the street from the AMC Burbank 16. The change occurred in early 2015, with several new shows launching: Jedi Council, Heroes, Coming Soon, Rewind, in addition to the existing Movie Talk and Mailbag shows. So AMC's YouTube channel was not just one show or 2 shows, it was now an entire network of shows. AMC's risk to let John run their digital operations had paid off with dividends, and it seemed like they could do no wrong. It seemed like everything was fine in the land of AMC. But by the time 2015 rolled around, a wrench was thrown in those plans. Something new, something strange entered the equation, and it ended up splintering off the Movie Talk team into an unusual direction. Amy Rose Eisenbach, who was the senior editor of AMC Movie News and the number 2 to John, decided to leave the show behind in order to form her own production company, Radiant J Productions. And not long after that, a huge bomb was dropped. John Campea stepped down from his position as editor-in-chief of AMC Movie News, and while no reason was ever officially given for the departure, some people speculate that it was because of Justin Gardner, the man who recruited him, leaving AMC a few months prior, as Justin was his only conduit between himself and the rest of AMC's management. And now, with him gone, some people were concerned that AMC executives would try to exert more and more control over the show, which is what caused John to leave. Bottom line, it was an unfortunate turn of events, and some people started to get concerned that Movie Talk would be shut down, as many were convinced that the rest of the crew could not hold up the weight without John steering the ship. Now, this could have been the end of the story, but as fate would have it, a little green something stepped in to save the day. Movie and television website Collider.com, which had been purchased by Complex Media 7 months earlier, decided to step in and acquire the 4 core shows: Movie Talk, Jedi Council, Heroes, and Mailbag from AMC Theaters. They also acquired the Burbank Studio Complex along with it, and a majority of the show's employees migrated to the new operation. John stayed on to lead Collider Video under the new role of senior producer, and as part of the deal, AMC remained with the show as a sponsor, sponsoring such segments as Opening This Week, Rewind, and Weekend Box Office Report. Everything that made Movie Talk great remained in place at Collider: the goofy, over-the-top humor, the passionate opinions, and the legendary catchphrases such as "Bring on the filthy" and "Happy whatever day it is, guys" all survived the journey from AMC to Collider. And with the incredibly deep pockets of Complex behind them, it allowed them to expand into an entire network of shows. In February 2016, they announced a surprise, and boy, it was a whopper. Popular online movie brand Schmoes Know merged with Collider Video, bringing its network of shows and crew to form one massive, giant online movie superpower. As part of the deal, Christian Harloff was named Director of Development to oversee Collider Video's growing network of shows. But with the good news came the bad. I don't know how to say this, but John Campea quit Collider Video. Running Collider Video simply became too much for John, and there were other things that he wanted to do outside of Movie Talk but couldn't. Eventually, it all took a toll on him and he decided to step down. But luckily, he already had a successor in place, and so Dennis Zen, his number 2, was named Director of Studio Operations. A few months later, he teamed up with Lionsgate and the streaming service Comic-Con HQ for a show titled Film HQ, which is a weekly movie magazine, although he wasn't gone from Movie Talk for too long, as he was named host and showrunner last month. So you don't have to play a song on the world's saddest violin anymore. Collider Video has a total of 9 shows that they broadcast 7 days a week, and I'm going to quickly go through each one, so here they are. Movie Talk, hosted by John Campea, is a daily movie news show in which they discuss everything going on in the world of movies, from set photos, rumors, cast and news, trailers, posters, and everything else. If you're looking for the Sports Center for movies, then this show is a pretty good equivalent of that. TV Talk, hosted by Josh McCouga, discusses everything that's going on in the world of television. It has the exact same format as Movie Talk, but only for television instead of movies. Nightmares, hosted by Clark Wolf, is a show discussing genre films, sci-fi, horror, thriller, you name it. So if you're looking for something spooky, creepy, and downright weird, then this show has got you covered. Heroes, hosted by John Schnepp, is a show in which, you guessed it, they talk about superheroes. From movies to television to comic books and everything in between, this show breaks down and dissects everything superhero and sweaty related until you feel like even more of a nerd than you are now. The Top 10 show, hosted by John Roca and Matt Nose, is a countdown-themed show in which the individual hosts have their own individual top 10 lists, break down each film, and at the end of every show, they combine their individual lists to create the show's overall top 10 list. Jedi Council, hosted by Christian Harloff, is a show about Star Wars. Need I say more? The Ultimate Movie Trivia Schmodown, hosted by Christian Harloff and Mark Ellis, is a show in which 2 competitors go head-to-head to test their knowledge of movie trivia. Now, personally, this is one of my favorite shows in the Collider Video Network, as it's exciting, intense, and it's so unpredictable that you never know what's going to happen. Best of the Week, hosted by Perry Nemiroff, is a highlight clip show basically showcasing the best that the Collider Video has to offer within a given week. This show is perfect for those that don't have enough time in the week to watch Collider's various shows, or if you just want to watch the juicy highlights. And finally, Mailbag, which is hosted by whoever feels like coming in on the weekends, is a standalone version of the segment that airs on Movie Talk, where they answer fan-submitted questions. This show is great for film buffs and non-film buffs alike. I mean, the production values are great, the chemistry between the various personalities is impeccable, the variety when it comes to the various shows ensures that there's something for everybody's taste. But what I like about Collider Movie Talk the most is that it's not pretentious. They don't talk down to their audience. It's just a group of regular people like you and me who love talking about movies, and you can see how passionate they are about movies just by watching one video. It's incredibly evident. I could not say enough good things about Collider Movie Talk. I mean, it's absolutely great. It's almost perfect. I will say this though, if you're into independent film and you don't really like tentpole blockbusters, then this isn't a show that I can recommend, because all they pretty much do is talk about tentpole blockbusters, which makes sense, as that's what the audience wants, and that's where the audience is. But for everybody else, I mean, this is one of the best movie-related channels on YouTube, and there's hours upon hours upon hours of content for you to sink your teeth into. And please, go and subscribe to Collider Video. They are worthy of your time and subscription, and they produce fantastic work. So, Collider Movie Talk easily gets my Young Hero seal of approval, and with that, this episode comes to a close. This is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Young Hero, signing out. Deuces, stay frosty and keep it weird. Cue an outro sequence now. so who's next on deck? Oh my God. Is that a duck face? Oh my God, that's a goddamn duck face. No. Screw this, I'm done, okay? I'm done. Just send my check in the mail. Just send my check in the mail.